the last time you said enough is enough? That you no longer want to stay on the path that you decided was the path a few years ago? Maybe you're at the point right now where you're saying, I just want to do something else, something different, or perhaps something that you had this burning desire, this passion, this drive, and this dream about years ago and didn't take any action on it. Welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show. And on today's show, we're going to explore why there is more than one right answer. That you don't have to stay on the path that you chose years ago, decades ago, or you felt that was chosen for you. You can make another decision. I'm Monica Pierre, a three-time Emmy Award-winning reporter and producer. I'm a talk show host, and I really work with people to help them develop, discover, and deliver their story. So let's talk about number one, this single path myth. This myth that we have bought into from the beginning, particularly when we were young and everybody was asking us, we were just so precocious and delightful and smart, or maybe we were talented, a singer or artist or a dancer or whatever. Maybe our parents were healthcare professionals and we wanted to do that as well because that was expected. Maybe we bought into a lot of things. Maybe we looked around and no one else was doing it and there was a need for it. And we said, this is our path. This is what we are going to do. And it really was okay and may have been okay for a long time, but we bought into it that we had to choose. We had to decide. And we decided. And from that early on, or maybe we went through education, we decided that we were going to do this, and it was the right major, or the right decision, or the right career, the right job. Maybe you decided you were going to do something and turn maybe a hustle into a business, whatever. We decided that it was the right answer. It was the right thing to choose, and we did it. And sometimes we were miserable from the very beginning. Sometimes we grew not to love it so much. Sometimes you might have been in the parking lot of the business or the school or whatever, and you just were talking yourself into going inside the door. I've experienced that myself. One place I worked, one station I worked, and it was not a good fit. Knew it from the beginning, but it was the right thing to choose. And I decided, and there were times when I would just have to like, okay, get up. Get up. Don't call in sick. You're okay. You can do it. And we go through all of these things, just really convincing ourselves that this is the path, this is what we have chosen, and we're going to stick with it no matter what. And this right answer idea gets beaten into us pretty early on, and it's reinforced. It's reinforced in a lot of different ways. It's reinforced, you may have heard this term, sunk cost fallacy. We've already invested in education. We've already invested years. We're this close to retirement, and we can't change. You say, I've done these things. I've done these things, and maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking. And there's some good days, some good times. And then you go, well, I just can't because I've invested too much. So I'm going to continue on this path. That is the sunk cost fallacy. Another way, there's one right answer myth, one right answer trap is reinforced is through identity attachment. And as a powerhouse woman, you may exactly be screaming right now because this is how you're feeling, right? You're a lawyer, you tell yourself. Who would I be if I wasn't a lawyer anymore? Or I'm a fill in the blank. Who would I be? Well, people pay me because they identify with me in a certain way. What if I decided I'm going to do something totally different? I'd have to explain. They'll keep asking me, well, how's the job? How's the school? How's this? How's that? Because my identity is there. And I'm so attached to that. That's one way this one right answer is reinforced. And the third one, and maybe you might go like, oh no, my goodness, Monica's talking to me. It is through fear of judgment. Fear of judgment. We hang on to the one right answer, even though it no longer serves us, even though we don't want it anymore, or even though we just want to do something different because we are grown. But we hang on to that one right answer because there is this fear of judgment, fear of being criticized, fear of people not understanding. So we stay. We stay on this one path. Years ago, I attended a conference for speakers, professional speakers, and they would have all these amazing guest speakers or keynote people. And this one person, it was a little interesting because he was a photographer. I don't know if he still is. This was many, many years ago. He was a photographer. He took still pictures, beautiful pictures for National Geographic. And I'm thinking, that's an interesting keynote speaker for a speaking association. But I paid attention because I was drawn to not only his beautiful photography, but I was drawn to one thing he said. I don't remember his name. I don't know if he's still working for National Geographic or not. Don't know if he's still taking pictures. But he did say this, and it has stuck with me. He said, whenever I go out to shoot or to cover something, these amazing places all over the world, sometimes hard to get to places, I tell myself, there's more than one right answer. And that just struck me. More than one right answer. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget what he said. And I started to slowly, slowly say, you know what? Even though people know me as a reporter, there's more than one right answer. I can pivot. I can reinvent myself. I can do different things because I have the freedom to do that. And sometimes we just have to, as a powerhouse woman, look ourselves straight in the eye and say the truth. You're grown. You're grown. And you can decide that even though you've spent all of this education, all of this money, all of this time, and you don't have to buy into the sunk cost fallacy, that you don't have to say, well, I've spent 20 years being successful as X, and there's this thought that it takes 20 years to get really, really good or put 10,000 hours or whatever. But you know that's not right for you anymore. You have this opportunity, this privilege, and this responsibility to yourself that you can have a different answer, a different identity. I interviewed a lady years and years ago, and she might have been in her 80s, and she had written a book, and she was talking about all the things that she has done. And I just basically said, well, anything next for you? And she goes, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a brain surgeon. And she just said it like, why not? Why not? So maybe you'll be a brain surgeon too. And you don't have to explain. You don't have to be fearful of the judgment or people not understanding. You can make the decision that this is the answer right now and that there's more than one right answer. So I hope that you are feeling a little bit better and you don't have to just feel like I can't tell anybody or I shouldn't feel this way. I want to do something different. You are a grown powerhouse woman and you can use all of your gifts and all of your talents. You can decide that I want to do X and here are the different possibilities. There's more than one right answer and I can set myself on that path. I hope you're feeling encouraged today. I hope you're feeling that this is something because, again, your path that you're currently on may be serving you, but it may not be serving you. I run into a lot of people who, even if they don't say it, you can see it in their eyes, right? You can see it in their eyes that there's something missing, there's a longing, and you can decide that whether or not it's aligned with the values that you have right now, whether you want to continue to do it or not, whether you want to do something else, whether it is your purpose now. Maybe what you're doing was your purpose before, and now your purpose is changing and looking different. And that keep this in mind that by choosing a different path, a different answer, doesn't mean you're admitting defeat, doesn't mean you are a failure, it doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that you are evolving, that you are gaining new information, you're gaining new perspective, you're deciding that, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna start painting. Yeah, I'm gonna start gardening. I'm gonna start doing what it is. And I don't know how long this season or seasons will be, but I do know that it's what I am drawn to do right now. And again, you don't want to say, well, I just did what everybody said, and once I retire, once I turn 65, I can start doing what I really want to do. Who knows how much time we all have? Nobody knows. So, and remember, you're grown and you can do that. We can grow. When we're grown, we can decide and we can redecide. We can change our minds, make a different decision. It is what we want to do. So I'm hoping that you've heard. I just feel that somebody who's watching right now, whether you're watching it live or later on or 6 months from now, it will be the best message for you where you are right now. There's more than one right answer for you. And speaking of new answers and a new story to tell, I would love to talk to you about my Story Maker Academy. We're wrapping up in a couple of months the current cohort, and then we'll be opening up another one. So, if this is the time that you really want to start focusing on the story, your story, a new story, a different story, the story you've been wanting to tell, the story you've been hiding from because you hide behind the statistics of your business, your company, your leadership. You never want to put yourself out there. The time has come to make you the focus of your story. And I can help you with that, develop it, and also deliver it. All you have to do is go to www.storymakeracademy.com. Have a wonderful day, Powerhouse Woman. Have a wonderful moment. Have a great life. You can have more than one right answer. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time on the Powerhouse Woman Show.